Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. This is Simon with AvaTrade. Welcome to our weekly webinar, mapping out your week ahead. And as I always say, by quoting traders when they say you plan your trade and then you trade your plan, and that's the whole purpose of this weekly webinar, is for us to prepare ourselves for the upcoming week. Few things about myself. My name is Simon Friedman. I'm a senior account manager with AvaTrade. I've been involved with trading for over 24 years. This June will mark 25 years since I came to trade on Wall Street. I was a prop trader for about 11 years, from the year 2000, and after 11 years of doing it, I moved into a less stressful environment. I also started to mentor, educate other traders, and I'm very happy to have this great opportunity to be assisting our customers. The agenda of the webinar, as usual, we talk about indices, stocks, commodities, and Forex. We mix some fundamentals with technicals. We'll take a look at economic calendar. We'll take a look at what happened last week. We'll take a look at winners and losers for the week and try to make a plan for the upcoming week. Risk warning, you can find the full statement at avatrade.com. And of course, everything we do here is purely educational. We do not suggest any trades. Social media channels, please feel free to subscribe to Telegram, X, and YouTube. As I always say, it's my favorite. You have tons of information there. You have tutorials, educational material, webinars, including this one, are being recorded and posted on YouTube. So if you ever missed a webinar or you just like to browse through the past webinars, please subscribe to YouTube, click on that bell so you'll be notified, and feel free to click on likes if you like it, share with people that might benefit, and leave your feedback. That would be great. So before we go into slides, actually, it's been quite a week. The indices that ended up the week negatively, even though Friday we had a nice bounce. S&P index technically entered the correction zone, 10% from the highs from the recent high, and that could be also a reason why Friday we had a nice bounce on indices. We had Dow Jones was up 675 points or 1.7%. Nasdaq was up 2.6%, and S&Ps as well. And we had a nice run, but still we finished the week in a negative territory. It was a disaster week for indices. Dow Jones ended up a week close to 4%, Nasdaq 3.7%, and S&Ps 3.4%. So that's the result of last week. We'll take a look at the charts. We'll try to analyze and see what happened to those indices, and that's what we're going to do later on. Now, interestingly enough, Wall Street says, this is the article from MarketWatch.com, says Wall Street begins to cut S&P 500 targets as tariff worries rock the stock market. Should investors be concerned? And it says lower, Wall Street's beginning to rethink its price target, but consensus usually lags stock around 3 months, Piper Sandler says. Wall Street forecasters are starting to turn less bullish on the stock market as global trade tensions escalate. What caught my attention that actually they use this tarot card picture. So I think that all the analysts, they're running out of really options or analysis. So they start using the esoteric way of analyzing the markets. I'm being a little bit sarcastic here, but it's true. We're in the territory. We don't really know how this tariff business will turn around for markets. So one of the big trading houses, Goldman Sachs, strategist on Wednesday, they lowered their year-end projection for the S&Ps to 6,200 from previously having it at 6,500. So some of the banks are lowering their predictions or projections for the S&Ps for this year. let's see what happens. Now, also, I brought this is provided by the fact set. The magnificent, I always have a hard time pronouncing this word, magnificent 7 stocks. And it gives you here, it says right here, how the mega cap stocks have performed this year through Thursday from best to worst. So Meta, Facebook, right? For this year, it's up actually 1% up until Thursday. So maybe if you take Friday into consideration, it could be a little bit higher. In 2024, return was 66%. 23 was a great year, 194. 22 was bad year for the stocks, down 64. And overall, since the end of 2021, 76%. Microsoft is the second one, down 10% so far this year. Amazon down 12, Alphabet, Google 14, Nvidia down 14. And Nvidia from all the lists is actually since the end of 2021 with all the roller coaster, it's still up almost 300%, as you could see, right? Apple down 16% in a year, still up 20. And Tesla actually from the end of 2021, according to FactSet, is still down 32%. So you can take a screenshot if you'd like. So this is the situation of the huge stocks or mega cap stocks that represent a huge chunk of indices, right? Now, economic calendar, before I go through it, and I apologize for the font, I was just trying to fit everything in one page, so it looks a little bit small. So economic calendar, it's a public information. This is for new people that are not familiar with it. You can find it at our web trader or the app or any provider. It's important to know these things ahead of time. We have a busy schedule here. What I do usually, I take the high impact events only. We have 4 interest rate decisions this week. It's going to be a busy week, so let's go through it really quick. Industrial production from China, followed by retail sales from US. Bank of America CPI numbers, sorry, Bank of Canada, the CPI numbers from Canada. Interest rate decision kicks off from Japan, Bank of Japan. That's on Wednesday. Of course, we also have the famous Fed's decision from US that we've been waiting, and that's also on Wednesday, followed by the press conference of Jerome Powell. Usually markets move even more during the press conference than after the decision itself. GDP numbers from New Zealand, employment data from Australia, employment data from UK. President Lagarde speaks. Okay, that's the president from European Central Bank. Another interest rate decision from Swiss National Bank from Switzerland. The expectation is no change. Fed's also expectation no change, and Bank of Japan expectation no change. And right after we have the interest rate decision from Bank of England, also no change. If you realize we are at the same percentage with Bank of England, UK, and US. They're both at 4.5% currently. So that's what we have. And Governor of Bank of Canada speaking on Thursday as well. So these are the things, again, 4 interest rate decisions for this week. It'll be a busy week, right? Okay, now sometimes I show this. This is the CME Fed Watch. As of now, it's only 2% probability of the change. So it looks like we will have no cut this time around. And you can find this actually and follow it. Just type in Google CME Fed 2, right? Or Fed Watch 2. Okay, the winners and the losers for the week. Commodities, we had some nice bounce And these following commodities: sugar up 4.8%, platinum 4.8%, silver up 4.74%, copper up 365, and gold up 273. Gold made all-time high. We'll take a look at the charts when we get there. Natural gas to the downside, 7%, cocoa almost 5%, corn 2.25%, coffee 1.87% lower. And the indices for the week. Now this is the cash indices, right? What you see, what you trade on the platform, those are the futures, CME for futures contract. These numbers are for the cash indices. Dow Jones almost 4% down. Nasdaq 3.77 and S&P down 3.42% for the week. Okay, we're going to take a look at the charts now and see how things look from the technical perspective. We'll start with China. China had a nice move. You remember for a few weeks we've been saying that China has been trying to run. Finally, we broke through this, a lot of consolidation here with a strong day on Friday. We also, it looks like we broke through the previous strong resistance here. So that's with China. And as you know, traditionally, we speak about with China, we have 4 instruments or 4 markets that are sensitive to it. It's copper, oil, Australian and New Zealand dollar, as China is using those things as copper and oil and other commodities provided by Australia and New Zealand. So we'll take a look at those when we get to commodities and forex. So that's China. Japanese index also had a nice move on Friday, and now we're getting to the U.S. indices. So you could see what I mentioned to you. We are in the correction zone that's more than 10% from the current peak. From the all-time high, this move down was over 10%. That's officially a correction zone. So some analysts said that the reaction Friday was to that dip. It could be also that investors and traders didn't want to be short over the weekend with all this uncertainty. Nevertheless, we had a nice move on Friday, erasing the Thursday move down. The big question is, what's happening next? Was it like a one-day correction? Are we going to continue and see some further move to the upside, erasing some of the big losses here, or will we continue lower? And I guess we'll find out soon. Nasdaq, the same story here. We had a nice move to the upside on Friday, and Dow Jones as well. German index had also a nice Friday recovery here, and UK as well. So as you could see, all global indices pretty much had a nice, strong Friday. Let's see if that momentum continues into the upcoming week, or should we see continuation to that gravity taking over and continuing to the downside. Okay, that's all with indices. Let's take a look at those Magnificent Seven. Just take a look at how they look on the chart. So as you could see here, this is Meta, first on list, up 1% so far for this year. Friday we had a nice, we actually had the gap and continuation. Next one is Microsoft. Microsoft's been probably the weakest of all. As you could see, it's been falling a lot, but Friday we did have a nice move, erasing pretty much the whole week of losses. So up until Thursday, as the data from FactSet said, the Microsoft was down on the year 10%. Next one is Amazon. Here we go. Amazon also holding this support right here, down 12% for the year. On Friday, it was up 2%. Alphabet or Google. Alphabet is down 14% for the year. Also Friday, we had a nice move to the upside. As you could see, most of these stocks are sold significantly since the recent highs, or since the all-time highs, you could say. So we are holding also support here. So that's Alphabet. NVIDIA, I'm going to switch to MT5. NVIDIA actually had a nice few days, not just Friday, since we hit, what was the low here? 104.70 we hit on the 11th. And then the next day we had a gap up. Following day, Thursday, was red. And Friday, another gap and continuation. So NVIDIA is still down on the year, 14%. Overall, we said since the end of 2021, it's still up close to 300%, 294%. That's NVIDIA. Apple. Apple's been sliding significantly here, down 16% for the year. The whole week we went really heavily sell-off, with each day with a gap down and continuation. So we'll be watching Apple, what's next. And of course, probably the most controversial of the group is Tesla, and it's all about Elon Musk and his actions and involvement in U.S. government, of course. I think there's not a person on the planet that haven't heard of that. So Tesla is down 40% on the year. If you remember, we started very strongly with the elections and all the friendship, quote unquote, of Elon Musk and President Trump. And then we start selling in the middle of December and making lower lows, lower highs until we came to 220, and we start bouncing from here. So that's on Tesla. Now, a few other things. If you remember, we spoke about banks. Banks also, some of them closed the gap or came to the strong support. And Friday we had the bounce. The big question, what is next? We could continue lower, and there's a space. I mean, if you take Goldman Sachs monthly chart, this is pretty much just the first month of selling. So if they decide to push markets further down, there's still space, right? Goldman, JP Morgan, Bank of America, all the banks had a strong Friday. Again, the big question, was it a one-day reaction, or was it at the beginning of reversal and we're going back up? That's, I would say, a few $1 trillion question. Okay, so that's about banks. And one more stock I would like to show you is Target. And why Target? Just caught my attention that it came to a very strong level of support. It's been selling, right? Retail stocks, they've been suffering a little bit. We have some retail sales coming this week, right, from the US. Let's see if that helps. But on Target, we came to the level of, this is the weekly chart, and this is the level of October of 2023. Okay, and the past 2 weeks was strong selling here, and now we're coming to this level of support. Let's see how it plays out. So that's Target, and let's take a look at Teva Pharmaceutical. Sometimes we pay attention to that stock, right? It's been bouncing here to the upside with this move on the 11th, and we are holding after that strong move to the upside after a significant sell-off here. So let's see if this is the reversal and we continue higher. So that's on Teva Pharmaceutical. Okay, moving to commodities. So let's go through those winners and losers one by one and see how they look on the charts. So we have sugar up 4.8% for the week. This is the weekly chart just to show it. Okay, we are sitting right on a 50-day moving average here. On sugar, it's been a strong move up here. then we went down with the gap. Now we're kind of trying to find a way of either come back to closing the gap or the opposite. So that's on sugar. Platinum had a nice week, pretty much. We started with the sell-off on Monday, but then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, there was strong moves with the high ranges or large ranges. And then Friday is a flat day, closing at the high of Thursdays. So that's platinum. Silver, also strong week. We have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 consecutive days to the upside, and Friday a little bit in red after faking that or fading that high of Thursday. Copper, as we said, with China, had a nice move. Interestingly enough, when China made a strong move on Friday, copper actually went into correcting itself after 3 strong moves to the upside. And of course, gold, all-time highs. These are the futures again, but on the spot, we did had that we hit that 3,000 mark. Also here as well, we hit the strategic point, the psychological level of 3,000, and we moved a little bit lower from there. And let's take a quick look at oil. Let's see if it reacted to China. It did have a little bit of a green day after Thursday's sell-off, and it is sitting here at around $67. If you look left, a lot of actions happening here, right? There was a lot of attempts to break through, so we held very strong support here. After each time we hit around 67, we moved higher here, right? So we are really trading around this level a lot. So let's see what's cooking in oil the upcoming week. So that's the winners plus the oil. Let's take a quick look at the losers. Natural gas had a sell-off week here after almost reaching 5. We had the 493 on the 9th of March, and then we've been selling pretty much the whole week. Friday, a little bit of attempt to move higher here. So natural gas down 7% for the week. Cocoa also pushing lower, almost 5%, 4.87%. We're below all the moving averages here. Corn sitting right on 100-day moving average, kind of finding its support here. So 2.25% for the week. And coffee was down 1.87, right above the 50-day moving average. And so far, this was our previous recent support around 367, 368. So that's on coffee. All right, so those are the commodities. Let's move to Forex. And again, just to remind us, in currency world, we have 4 events this week. We have 4 interest rate decisions: Bank of Japan, the Fed's decision from US, a Swiss National Bank for Swiss franc, and Bank of England for the pound. So let's start with those actually. So dollar yen, it's been yen's been strong. Of course, dollar's been weak as well. So here we've seen clearly lower lows and lower highs. We did break through the previous support around here, around 148, 149, and now we're trying to test it to see if that became the resistance. So I guess we'll find out this week. Now let's take a look what yen is doing against other currencies. As you could see, the big picture is similar. Lower highs, lower lows. Yen is remaining strong against the currencies across the board, as you could see here. The only thing, the euro has been very strong, so it kind of broke that trend, downtrend. It looks like it's moving higher here. Pound as well, it's been kind of strong here against the yen, and New Zealand dollar, not so much. So again, let's see what that decision will be, and what will be the outlook for the future for the yen. So that's this week. Let's take a look at the majors also. As you could see here, euro dollar has been testing this previous resistance so far. We're failing to break through it, so it remains the resistance around 109.34. That's the level that we established as a resistance back in November of last year. Pound, dollar, of course. We also have the interest rate decision from the UK. Similar story, we have this resistance here from about the same time of November of last year. And let's take a look at dollar Swiss. Dollar Swiss is holding above the 200 moving average here with the strong sell-off here. And this past week, we're pretty much trying to rebound here. So that's on the Swiss franc. Euro pound been super strong. It's a strong move of euro for the couple of weeks now, and it looks like euro has been strong. Maybe it's to do with changes that they make in their approach to the war in Ukraine. They creating a lot of budget for military and other things. I'm just speculating here what could be such a move. Of course, the US dollar has been weak, right? So euro, it's euro dollar in general is the strongest or the most traded currency. So as you could see here, when the dollar loses its volume, the euro is gaining it. So as you could see this move, it's the mirror image of the euro dollar right here. So let's take a look what happens this upcoming week. Again, we have 4 interest rate decisions from Japan, US, Switzerland, and UK, England. Now let's also take a look at Australian and New Zealand dollars. We said with China, those commodity currencies, as they call them, Australian and New Zealand dollar, usually they follow the Chinese index. And take a look. They did move. Australian dollar moved on Friday with the Chinese index, and we are trying to really push through this resistance here around 0.63, 0.6350. New Zealand dollar as well is actually broke through Thursday's high, so both of those currencies looking strong. Again, currency is important to know for interest rate decisions for this week. That's it pretty much. I think we covered most of the markets. It's going to be a busy week, right? Let's just summarize it. We have 4 interest rate decisions for this week. I think this is the 5th time I'm saying it. I hope you're not tired of it, but it's important to stress it up. And we went through a magnificent 7 stocks, and with the statistics, how they look for the year. We spoke about the S&Ps in general, that the analysts from a lot of banks are lowering their targets for S&Ps for the year. We said that Goldman Sachs lowered it to 6,200 from 6,500, right? We had a nice bounce on Friday after we reached or entered the correction territory for S&Ps, 10% from the highs. And the big question is how this week is going to play. Are we going to see a continuation of that move to the upside, or was this just a one-day reaction and profit taking before continuation to the downside? That's it pretty much. I want to wish everyone a great weekend, get some energy, spend quality time with your families. And we'll see you all next week. It's going to be busy, eventful. And I want to wish everyone a successful and a happy week ahead of us. All the best. Take care.